So let's go to the AuthJS dev page here, authjs.dev, and let's click on get started. Then we need to first install here with Next.js. We need to run npm install next-auth@beta. So let's do that. So let's stop the server here, development server, and run npm install. Or we can first let's just commit the changes in project that we have made. So if I git status, we have modified auth.ts file, and if we run git diff, we have if result modified. So let's just add a message here, git add dot git commit dash m, and we have added invalid credentials message on login form. Let's just also push the code to GitHub. Okay, so successfully done. Now let's just create a new branch to add our authjs.dev library. So git branch add authjs dev library feature, and let's just switch to this branch, add authjs dev library feature. Okay, we have switched to the branch. If I run git status, nothing to commit. So let's first install the package, npm install next auth@beta. Okay, it is currently installing. Let's just wait. Okay, it have finished installing, and there is a message here, installing at that auth core is not necessary. As a user, you should never have to interact with at that auth core. Okay, we need to next set up environment. The only environment variable that is mandatory is auth secret. This is a random value used by the library to encrypt tokens and email verification hashes. So we need to create an environment file in our project that we have not created, but we need to create it. So let's just switch to branch for this, git switch, and we are going to switch to main. So let's add git branch and say add local dot env file feature. Okay, the branch has been created. Let's switch to it. Git switch add local.env file feature. Now just add the environment file in our root directory, or do we have our environment file here? No. So let's create a new file and name this dot env dot local. So it is a special file in Next.js that Next.js will use for environment variables. So for now we need to add this secret here. We need to add this environment variable auth secret. So let's just copy it and paste it here, and the message could be, let's just say play union secret or auth secret. Play union auth secret. We can change this later, but for now I'm going to keep it this. So let's continue with our setup. We have set up the environment, then we need to configure. Next, create the auth.js config file and object. This is where you control the behavior of the library and specify custom authentication logic. So we need to create one more file. Start by creating a new auth.ts file at the root of your app with the following content. So let's just copy this, and in the root we need to create a new file dot, not dot but auth.ts, and paste the contents here. Let's just add semicolons here, save. But before this we need to actually, let's just copy this, we need to actually commit the environment file that we have forgotten. So if I run Okay, this is not git bash. This is git bash. If I run git status, okay, we have installed the AuthJS here. So let's just commit that. Git add space and git commit dash m. Let's just say install authjs dot dev package. Okay, so we have committed it. Git, let's run git status. Nothing to commit. Let's just merge this branch. So git switch main and git merge. Let's merge with main. So what was the branch name? Add local.n file. Okay, this is fast forward merge. Let's just push the code to GitHub. Git push origin main, and we need to delete some branches. The first will be git branch sd, that is add authjs dev library feature, and next is git branch sd add lo- local .n file feature. So if we now run git branch, we have only one branch, that is main. Now let's create a new branch with the latest commit on main. That will be git branch add authjs package feature. Let's just switch to this branch, add authjs package feature. So we have switched to the branch. Now let's add the file here called auth.ts and paste the content here. So if I now run git status, we have added a new file auth.ts. So now continue with our installation here. Second is add a route handler under app API auth. So let's just do that. So let's go to here, app, inside app, new folder API, then new folder auth. Inside this new folder auth, then we have this Next.js special route. Let's just copy it and create a new folder inside here, paste this, and next we need to create a route.ts file, which is also a special Next.js file. So call it route.ts, and we need to copy this file. Must be an app router route handler. However, the rest of your app can stay under page if you would like. Okay, and inside route.ts file we need to copy and paste this content. Okay, add optional middleware. We are not going to add middlewares here. Next is to commit these changes here. So if I, let's also add semicolons here. Save it. Now let's commit the changes. So git add dot and git commit dash m add authjs installation. Let's remove the dash, installation files and folders. So let's commit it. Let's check git status. Nothing to commit. So let's now continue working on AuthJS. Next we need to authenticate. We are going to authenticate with credentials, and maybe we can later add auth authentication, but for now we are going to use the credentials here. So let's look what it is saying. To set up AuthJS with any external authentication mechanism or use a traditional username, email and password flow, we can use the credentials provider. Okay, to use the credential provider, you will first need to import and configure it in your AuthJS setup file. We have TS file, not JS file. This provider allows you to implement custom login logic based on form input values. Here's how to set it up. First, import the provider Add it to your provider's array in auth.js config file. Define the credentials and authorize fields. So here it is. Let's import the credentials here. So this will be inside auth.ts. So let's import it. Let's close the route file and let's just import it. That is credentials from next auth providers credentials. Okay. Then we have handlers, sign in, sign out, and auth. Okay, we have that. Then we need to provide array here. We have an array here. Okay, inside array we need to provide credentials. So here we need to create a credentials here and pass some value with object, and it is saying you can specify which field should be submitted by adding keys to the credentials object. Example, domain username. So we are passing credentials, email and password. So let's say credentials and it will be object also. Yes, it is object. Here we have email and password. Email and password with empty object maybe. Okay, it's empty object. Next we need to provide authorize function here. That is a async function. Async, and we need to provide it with a credentials. So it will be an arrow function and it will have a user set to null. Then we need to check the login to verify. Okay, so we have a, so let user, that will be of type user type maybe, or null, and initially let's set it to null. And then we need to check it the user from database. So const result equals await, whatever the function name is, valid user, and pass the email and password here. So credentials.email, credentials.email, second is credentials.password. So this will be actually user here. Let's just name to user. So it is giving me some error, type boolean or null is not assignable to type user type or null. Okay, we need to actually create a new function for this. Let's just create it here. Let's just copy this and paste it below. And let's just rename this function to get user by email and password, and it will return a user here, user type. And if user is not null, we need to return the user here. So const user, and the return type of this should be a user type. Yes, that is find one, and it is returning user type or null. So we should be good with this here, and we can just return null here. That's totally correct, and we need to update the error messages. Let's just rename this to fail to get user by email and password. Let's just copy this and paste it below. Let's just save it, and we need to remove this import and say, so let's import it here, get user by email and password, and it is giving me some error. Argument of type unknown is not assignable to type of string. Let's pass this as string here and do the same for this. Okay, now we have fetched the user. We need to check here if user is null. Then we need to, if user is null, we need to throw new error invalid credentials. So let's just throw a new error here, throw new error invalid credentials, and else we can just return the user. Okay, the error has been gone from here. and we are done with auth.ts file here. And there is an information message here. If you are using TypeScript that we are using, you can augment the user interface to match the response of your authorized callback. So whenever you read the user in other callbacks like JWT, the type will match correctly. Also, one more thing, that we are not specifying strategy of authentication here. The default strategy for authentication is JSON Web Tokens. That is what here it is saying, JWT. So let's work on next thing, that is sign in form, which we already have created. So we don't need to create this. Next, we need to validate credentials. I think we also have validated the credentials in our auth.ts file in the actions folder, that we don't need to do. So next thing, let's move to the session management and sign in and sign out. So handling sign in and sign out. To sign in your users, make sure you have at least one authentication method set up. You then need to build a button. Okay, we have created this. We have a sign in component here, and inside it there is a button type of submit, and this is a form action that is saying. So what we need to do to sign in the user and set up the session here is this line of code. Actually, it is saying await sign in GitHub. We have credentials, not GitHub. That is, this is using auth credentials, but we have credentials session management. So let's just do it, and it is imported from auth.ts file. That is the config file. So let's go to our login form first. Let's just keep this. Let's go to our actions auth.ts, and here we are returning the successful message. So here we need to call this the sign in function await, and let's just say sign in from next auth react or what, from auth.ts. Sign in from auth. This is the function. So next we need to provide the provider here, that is credentials, and then the object with email and password fields or variables, I should say. Then we need to redirect to the home page if we are successful in login. So let's check the code here once more. So it is sign in, then the provider, then the email and password, and redirect to. So this is correct. Let's just save this and run the development server again because it is currently not running. So npm run dev. Let's just refresh the login page. Okay, it is opened. So let's go to the auth login page. And one more thing, let's look our cookies here. So close this. We have application, then there is cookies. And when we are successful in login, that is running this line of code, there will be some more data here that is linked with the session management. So let's log in with correct credentials, or maybe let's just test the invalid credentials. So abc@gmail.com, password 123. It should say invalid credentials. Okay, it is saying. Let's just pass the correct credentials, Shubham, and password 123. Now it should run this code and verify the email and password, and then redirect to the home page if we are successful in login. So let's click on the login button. Okay, we are redirected to the home page, and there is one more property here, authjs.callback URL and session token has been updated. So we are successful in applying the authjs.dev library, that is this one. Next we need to sign out also. We can simply just call sign out here, that we can add later. So we are currently successful in implementing the authjs library. So let's close this and commit the changes. So let's not this window but this window. Let's run git status, and we have three files modified, that is actions.js, auth.ts config file, and lib.ts file. So git add dot and git commit dash m, that is add login or sign in method of AuthJS. Let's also add AuthJS package here. So if I commit and then git status again, then we need to switch the branch to main and we need to commit the changes. So git merge, that is add AuthJS package feature, and it is a fast forward merge. Let's git status, nothing to commit. Let's just git push origin main. Let's just also verify once more after merging because there could be errors. So let's go to auth login, and if I delete these properties here, let's just delete it. Currently we don't have anything, and if I pass the correct credentials here, I should see the token and callback URL here. So if I press login, we have successfully redirected to home page, and there is callback URL property and session token property. So it is working correctly. So let's just push the code to GitHub. So git push origin main. Okay, let's just get status and get log here to see the history. So we have installed the AuthJS dev package in this commit. Then we have added authentication files commit. Then we have added add login or sign in method of AuthJS package to our login form.